An evening at the farmer's market. It was a relaxing, warm afternoon in July. That evening, Colin, Steve, Frank, Chad, and I would go to the local farmer's market in my neighborhood. We were all pretty hyped as the weather that night was supposed to be perfect. Not too hot, and also not a cloud in the sky. Around 6:30, I drove over to the big parking lot near the pool. Colin, Frank, and Steve were already there waiting for me. "Yo, where's Chad?" I asked.
"I don't know, man, but he be taking long like always,"
replied Steve. Just then, I received a text message from Chad saying that he was running a little late. He then sent me a Snapchat video of him chilling at home in a recliner chair with a heating pad. "Chad, you're not even doing anything. Get your ass over here," I messaged him.
"Wilbur, you see, Brutal camp today was extra rough, and I gotta let my gains recover first before I hit up the farmer's market hard tonight,"
Chad replied.
"After all, would you rather have a semi-big chill Chad here tonight, or a full-on gains Chad?"
"Okay, fine, but be here soon," I texted him back. "Chad won't be here till later on," I told everyone.
"Farmer me, man, one step closer to making a tough man's group of reality,"
said Steve.
"Now we just gotta get rid of Buzzman."
Frank inquired, clueless to his surroundings as always. The four of us all agreed to find a spot in the grass to sit down at. There were quite a lot of people around the area, but the reason for that was because starting at 7:30 sharp would be a local concert. Steve was in the mindset that Lil Mayday was coming to perform, so he insisted that we watch the concert. And yeah, Lil Mayday is a rapper from Baltimore. "Steve, I don't know where you got the idea in your head that Lil Mayday is performing tonight. He's not. It's just a local band out of Banderville," Colin told Steve as we made our way towards the area where the concert would take place at.
"Nah, fam, Lil Mayday's performing tonight. We gonna be getting all hooded shit up in this joint,"
he insisted. "Whatever you want to believe," I said. About a minute later, and we all had made our way to where the concert would be. It was outdoors, obviously, and was located in a big grassy field just outside the main pool area. There's a mini stage set up with one of those big white sound reflector things as well. We made our way into the massive group of people sitting in the grass in front of the stage and found ourselves a spot. People had picnic blankets and some had camp and beach chairs to sit in. Then, out of nowhere, Frank whipped out his two jumbo-sized camp chairs. "Frank, where did you even get those from?" I asked. Frank replied. Frank set up his two chairs and got comfy. I was going to claim the second chair he brought, but it was already too late. He had already rested his muddy hiking boots up on it. The rest of us just sat in the grass instead. It was around 7:10 now, and the concert wasn't happening for another 20 or so minutes. Everyone was just relaxing and enjoying themselves in the nice summer's evening. There were a bunch of vendors set up around the area too, as well as a farmer's market after all. Most of the vendors were selling the usual items such as homegrown vegetables, fruits, breads, homemade jewelry and decorations. You know, the typical. The vendors were friendly and simply hung out underneath their easy-up canopy and let the people come by to check them out. You know, very low-key. But some vendors were a little more pushy about their product. In fact, at that point, I wouldn't even refer to them as vendors, rather salesmen. The person we were about to interact with next was no exception. We were all simply relaxing in the grass, with all the other people who were waiting for the concert to begin, when we all heard the faint calls of a salesman.
"Popcorn, get your popcorn, Morris. Perfect for musical night in the stars."
I looked around and saw who the salesman was. It was no one other than Herbert Ernie himself. He looked more ridiculous and unhinged than ever before. He wore a full and complete popcorn outfit, with the vertical red and white stripes and all. He wore a tall, cylindrical hat on his head, along with a hip belt on his waist that had a mysterious-looking popcorn basket hanging from the front. It was made so people could reach their hand inside, without actually seeing inside. He walked up to a group of women and gave it a shot.
"Hello there, ladies. Would you like some popcorn?"
he asked. "Ew, no, go away," the girls replied.
"Hey, come on. How about you stick your hand into my popcorn mystery basket instead? There, you win a mystery prize. Don't knock it till you try it,"
Herbert replied as he gave the group of women a wink. A creepy wink. "Nope, come on, we're leaving," one of them said. The rest of the group walked away.
"Yeah."
Herbert murmured to himself. He then caught sight of us. We all quickly looked away to pretend we didn't see him, but it was too late. In my peripheral vision, I could make out the inflated outline of the red and white popcorn uniform making its way over. Before we knew it, Herbert was right over our necks, towering down over us as we were still sitting down.
Hey, would you boys like some popcorn?
Herbert said creepily.
Didn't expect to see you lads at the market tonight.
Herbert, please, just go away, Colin begged. We're just trying to enjoy the concert tonight. Let's save your schemes and plots for another day.
Concert, eh?
Herbert responded.
Well, now I have just what you boys need. My name is Peppo Ernie, and it is my sole opportunity to ensure that by the end of the night, everybody gets a taste of my delicious popcorn. You both have a variety of mouth-watering flavors to choose from. Try some cotton candy caramel corn, or perhaps you're more a fan of some classic chocolate drizzle flavored candy corn.
Wait. Since when do you own a popcorn business? Colin demanded.
I spent the winter in my lab, perfecting the perfect popcorn recipe that everybody loves. And now, I'm here to share it with the whole world.
The weirdest thing about this whole Pop Boy Ernie was that everyone else here who was selling something had a stand or an easy up or something. But no, Herbert seemed to be more of a nomadic salesman. Listen, Herbert, Colin told him. We are not interested in your popcorn. I'm sure we'll get plenty of other business throughout the night. Just leave us alone, okay?
You okay then, lads? But I warn you, the popcorn business is very risky. My popcorn is the wisest decision in town.
Herbert said before making his way over to the edge of the grassy field near the woods. I noticed that he would no longer be a nomadic salesman anymore. He reached into his backpack and pulled out a bunch of loose poles and fabric. The poles collapsed as they dropped to the ground and landed in one messy pile. I watched as Herbert went to spend the next 10 minutes fidgeting around at the poles. He seemed to be in a great hurry, too. I then saw what he was doing. He was setting up one of those popcorn stands, the kind you see at amusement parks. Now, I didn't think you were supposed to stand inside these things to begin with, but yeah, the stand was way too small for him because when he went to try and stand inside of it, his plump potbelly extruded out from all angles. The other weird part of this whole thing was that he set up shop far away from all the other vendors too, all the way back near the woods, isolated from everybody else. He simply stood there, watching everybody. A cheesy grin sat on his face as he did. Anyway, it was nearing 7:30 now, and the concert was getting ready to begin. Steve was getting hyped.
Let's get it, man. Little Maydays better go laugh.
The band that was performing that night hadn't yet shown themselves, so Steve was still in the mindset that Lil Mayday be the one performing. I don't know how he didn't get the hint that he wasn't, as the tech crew was setting up drum kits and guitar stands. Definitely not things that someone like Lil Mayday be really using. Steve, I really don't think that Lil Mayday's performing tonight, Colin said.
The fuck you talking about, man? I know for a fact that he is. The reason being, Mayday himself actually moves out of town. In fact, him and I actually met him in person last week and we planned this whole thing out beforehand. He's my homie.
Just then, the band performing that evening made their debut on stage. Welcome everybody to the stage, Benjamin and the Benjamites, the host announced.
Benjamin and the fucking mates.
Classic band for around the Banderville area. Benjamin and the Benjamites were a local band in the area run by a musty, crusty college kid named Ben. He was into punk rock and had all his little punk minion friends working for him in his little band. He had long, greasy hair. That was curly. He wore a black leather jacket with his skull and on his ripped, skinny jeans. What's up, rock and roll dudes? Let's play some Broken Heart tunes, Ben shouted in his raspy voice. I knew that Ben was into weed and everything, but I wouldn't have thought it would have this much of an impact on his voice. Anyway, the song they played was really bad. It was sung extremely out of tune and pitch. It almost sounded like if Ben was drunk or something. I genuinely would have enjoyed Lil Mayday instead of this garbage, but it was whatever, for me at least. Steve was enraged.
Man, how dare they not have Lil Mayday here? That motherfucking dude probably be from... Wow, I don't know how to find that beat his ass. Fuck this shit,
claimed Steve. Hey, have fun with that, replied Colin.
Pretty real enjoyable music, if I do say so myself. Wouldn't you bros agree?
Said Chad. Benjamin and the Benjamites finished up their performance before leaving the stage. Before the cleanup crew could come up, however, Herbert Ernie hopped up and picked up the mic for himself.
Now that the finished music roar is complete, I'm sure you folks are going to agree. And what's great music without good popcorn, eh? My name is Popcorn Ernie, and it is my responsibility to ensure that by the end of it, everybody gets a delicious taste of my mouth-watering popcorn,
Herbert stated boldly.
Who wants to be the first to taste?
The crowd was silent. I couldn't believe what Herbert was doing. I think everybody else was just as shocked as I was.
Playing hard to get it? I guess ladies and business tie hand in hand. Good thing I'm good at both. Don't worry. I have a way to make sure everybody gets my popcorn. Just wait 1 minute. I'll be back.
Herbert then jumped off the stage and ran into the woods. The crowd seemed pretty relieved that Herbert was gone, but we knew better than to stick around the area. He wants to hit up the pool for a night swim, I suggested.
Now that sounds like a fine-ass plan to me, G. I ain't swimming to build up my endurance for when I hunt down little Mayday,
replied Steve. Frank exclaimed, and it was set. The 4 of us were then to head on over to the Coldstream pool and to go for a night swim. A lot of people from the farmers market concert also decided to come as well. To make matters even better, Chad just texted and told us that his gains were all recovered from football camp and that he'd meet us at the pool in a few minutes. We made it to the pool gate and slid inside. It was all the way dark outside now, and the pool was pretty crowded with people from the market. We didn't mind, however, as we were just glad that Chad was on his way and that our minds were taken off Herbert and the Benjamites' musical atrocity. We were having a blast. Music was playing, good music, LED lights illuminated underneath the water, and we were all enjoying ourselves. Just then, Chad arrived.
What's up, Bruce? Ready to brew, Birdie?
Chad said.
Let's get it. Chad is finally here.
Steve exclaimed.
Yep,
Chad replied.
time for some pizza and chill. Gotta keep the gains fit after all.
Why don't you get in for a swim? I suggested.
Well, that might not be the most bro-wise of choice, Chad replied. Wouldn't want the chlorine in the water rinsing off my summer tan. I would be Bruce.
What about that peak summer gains review we've been hyping up all summer? Asked Colin. As of right now, Chad wore the typical long-sleeve football letterman jacket with jeans. He had his hair swooshed up and wore sunglasses, even though it was nighttime.
Well, Bruce, I wish I could, but the gains reveal is best in the daytime. When the sunlight hits the gains, it accentuates the tan just right for maximum effect,
Chad replied. He seemed to be getting a tad nervous.
Heh, man's pussy,
stated Steve. The whole crowd had their eyes on Chad, so Chad panicked and was sent jogging to the bathroom. We let him be, continued enjoying our night at the pool. 30 minutes had passed, and we were still having a blast. Our fun was about to be cut short, though, when we heard the faint sound of someone speaking into a megaphone off in the distance, accompanied by the sound of screaming. It was coming from all the way over in the parking lot. We all tried our best to see over the row of cabanas blocking our view of the parking lot. That was when we saw it, the tip-top piece of a popcorn stand. It seemed to be trotting up and down as it moved, as if it was walking in a way. The portable popcorn stand continued making its way around the cabanas, and was soon at the entrance to the pool gate. Then we were able to see who it was. It was no one other than Herbert Ernie himself. He was still in the undersized popcorn stand from earlier, only now it was on top of a giant popcorn bucket that was on top of 14-foot stilts. Herbert was sitting on top of this popcorn bucket in his popcorn stand. He was using 2 levers to make the giant popcorn bucket walk.
If nobody wants to come to Popcorn Ernie, I'll be bringing the Popcorn Ernie to you,
Herbert exclaimed through a popcorn-themed megaphone. The whole crowd in the pool screamed and crowded into the back end of the pool yard near the back cabanas. The bad thing about this pool, though, and the situation and how it was laid out, is that there's only one way in and one way out, and as of right now, Herbert blocked the exit.
Here wants popcorn,
Herbert announced. A popcorn-themed turret then emerged from the front of the giant popcorn bucket. That turret slowly but surely began firing popcorn kernels at us. Just one kernel at a time. However, one of the kernels hit me, and for the first time ever, I was able to get a good look and perhaps taste of some of Pop Boy Ernie's popcorn. Though, I take back what I said about the tasting part, as this popcorn is disgusting to a whole new level. It had blue, fuzzy mold growing on it, and dare I say, feces on it. Ew! A bunch of people exclaimed as the popcorn landed upon them.
Eat it, eat it, eat it. I have an entire vat of corn to be consumed,
Herbert said. Herbert continued firing the popcorn, only now more rapidly.
Rapid fire!
This whole barrage of popcorn projectiles continued for another 5 or so minutes. It was absolute chaos. People were running all over the place, falling into the pool, and using anything they could as shields so as not to get hit with the chocolate-flavored kernel corn. Every now and then, Herbert would make a sly remark such as,
"No worry, ladies, we can pop even more popcorn in bed tonight."
Or,
seems like putting the pet in Peppo is finally becoming a reality.
about 2 minutes later, it had finally seemed as if Herbert had run out of popcorn, as the turret ceased to fire. The entire pool area was a wreck, though. Popcorn was covering every surface imaginable. Chairs and tables were tossed upside down, and people had spilled food all over the place. Herbert wasn't finished yet, though. We looked back up at the giant popcorn bucket and realized that Herbert was nowhere to be seen. That's when we witnessed a hole opening up in the top of the giant popcorn bucket, followed by not a turret, but rather a full-on cannon come out of it. Herbert Ernie was in that cannon. He wore a sort of popcorn helmet on his head, and the cannon was getting ready to fire.
If you lads want the popcorn, then you get to have me,
Herbert announced. Herbert then fired himself out of the cannon at maximum speed. He crashed right into a big group of people. It was at that moment that Herbert stood up, realizing he was in nothing more than a popcorn thong. Basically, a strap with a piece of styrofoam popcorn in front.
Oh, fucking that, fam. This be getting me way too much,
said Steve. I had to agree. And yeah, that was that. Everyone had had enough, and I was no exception. I said bye to everyone, hopped in my car, and headed on home.
Come on, everybody. We're just joking around. My popcorn isn't to cheer everyone up, though,
Herbert said, but it was too late for him. The police arrived, and Herbert was taken away. That then concludes Evening at the Farmer's Market.